Today is probably about 2 weeks out from the show, so very, very close. I'm feeling really good at the minute. I'm definitely in the best shape that I've been in prep for competition. And also, just check this week, I'm actually lighter at this point than I was on stage last year. So far, so good. I feel really, really lean, and I think this year it should be really good. But the reason why I'm making today's video is slightly different. So a while ago, I did do a supplement video, and it wasn't very good. I didn't have the equipment at the time. So I thought I'll do another vamped up version. Now, before I go any further, I have to say I'm not an expert at this, but I did some research into some of the supplements I take, and by no means am I saying these are supplements you have to take in order to get into the shape that I've got into. Nothing beats a nutritional diet, in all fairness, and I'll be honest, a lot of this stuff is quite expensive and it adds up really quickly. So if you're not the sort of person that wants to spend money on loads of supplements, or you just feel actually you don't want to be taking loads of pills or potions or whatever, you'll just be concerned about the long-term effects. By no means am I saying these are what you have to take, but this is what I've taken. But obviously, as I considered this as a video diary about my journey to stage, I'm going to share with you what I'm taking. So I take loads of supplements, and to be quite honest with you, some supplements I take just leading up to the show. I usually start about 6-7 weeks just before the show taking some of them, and some of them I take just throughout the year. And the first supplement I'm going to talk about is something I hadn't heard about until my coach told me I had to have it, and that's CLA, also known as conjugated linoleic acid. Now, I'm going to keep this video quite informal because, like I said, the whole science behind why you take one over the other is not something that I'm versed in great detail. However, I did do a bit of research that you guys can decide whether it's a supplement you want to take yourself or it's something that you think you might want to try. But anyway, conjugated linoleic acid, also known as CLA, it's a naturally fatty acid found in foods such as beef and also dairy products, but the issue is it's found in very, very, very small amounts. So in order to get what they recommend to get some of those benefits, you'd have to eat loads and loads and loads of those type of foods that contain it. And obviously that wouldn't be helpful because some of the health risks with things like beef or large consumption of beef. So the way to get around it is to supplement this within your diet. Now, the research behind this supplement is quite limited. However, it is believed to help reduce fat mass while increasing lean body mass. And like I said, this is one of the supplements I take throughout the year. I take 3 a day, and normally I think I take 1 with my lunch, 1 with my post-workout meal, 1 just before I go to bed. Now, if you type in CLA in Google, you'll get loads and loads and loads of information about how it works, what it does. Now, in short, my understanding is that it interferes with the fat storage that's in your body, and it helps to burn that fat and essentially turn it into energy. So it helps to reduce the fat mass within your body. Like I said, I'm not quite versed with this supplement. It's not something I was taking until my coach said to take it. However, I do believe it's one of the staples of my supplement stack. It's something that I will take religiously. Moving on to the next supplement. This supplement I only take leading up to a show. And the reason being is because what I find is just before a show or any point where I've been dieting for a long period of time, I think my testosterone levels are relatively low. And I do find that I get really lethargic, really tired really easy, and the idea of this is to help try and boost it and mediate the changes that happen as a result of being on lower calories for quite an extended period of time. So the brand I buy is ILL, and it's called Test Extreme, and you can find any sort of supplements that contain the same ingredients. You don't have to go for this one, but essentially what this is a mixture of magnesium and zinc. The benefits of zinc and magnesium include boosting your immune system, promotes blood sugar control, and lastly, when you combine zinc with magnesium, it is also known to help to increase your testosterone levels, which, like I said, during a show or just before a show, you find that they do come down. So it does help mediate that. Whether there's a placebo effect, there is some studies that indicate that that isn't the case. However, the jury's still out there. So this is a supplement that I would say, if you don't want to spend loads of money on supplements, maybe one that you don't consider. Moving on to the next supplement, we're going to talk about one that everyone knows about, and it's probably the most known supplement there is, and that is whey protein. This is Optimum Nutrition's version of their whey. This is a very lean whey, so it's quite low in fat and also carbohydrates. I love this whey. The annoying thing about it is it's actually getting harder and harder and harder to buy for whatever reason. Most people understand why they take whey. Personally, I take it in the morning, just after a workout and just before I go to bed. Whey protein is known to absorb a lot quicker than some of the other ones, which is one of the reasons why I take it. But I would strongly recommend, if you're regularly training, definitely take a protein. It will help with build lean muscle tissue, it will help with your recovery, and it just generally helps in terms of filling you up a little bit after your sessions, because I generally feel quite drained. So I literally take my whey protein with me in a shaker, and then as soon as I finish, before I leave to go home, put some water into a shaker, shake it up and down it on the way home, and it just really helps to fight the cravings, because I don't know about anyone else, but after I train, I am very, very, very hungry. Moving on to my next supplement. Now, this supplement is definitely one of the ones I take running up to a show, and all it does essentially is help speed up your metabolism. The brand of choice is by a company called Britain Nutrition, and they call this supplement Metabolic Plus. Now, like I said, this is definitely one that if you don't want to spend loads of money on supplements, I wouldn't advise getting this one, because whether it works or not, I don't know. But I do take it on the run up to the show, like I've said already. As far as looking at the label, it contains a whole load of caffeine and other natural ingredients that I believe to help speed up your metabolism. So like I said, even though it's quite cheap, it's definitely one that if you don't want to spend money on loads of supplements, I wouldn't bother buying. Now, next two supplements are supplements that I think are overlooked within the fitness industry, and there's not enough emphasis on social media to take them. Doing the research for the video, I realised actually how important they are, and they're definitely supplements I take throughout the year. Once again, they're not very expensive, and they're definitely ones that if you feel you could stretch and you could afford, I would strongly recommend considering getting them. Now, the first one is literally a simple fish oil. Now, once again, if you type in fish oils into Google, you'll get hundreds, if not thousands, of pages talking about the scientific reason why there's benefits to taking fish oils. But I'm just going to break down my understanding of why you take it. Now, before we continue on, I'm going to refer to fish oils as omega-3. Omega-3s are fatty acids that have plenty of benefits, including improving your cardiovascular fitness, brain health, reducing the risk of depression, and even good for your skin. However, there is some evidence that suggests it also helps with weight loss. Now, before we go on, there are various types of omega-3 fatty acids, but we're just going to break it down into two types. And those are the essential omega-3 acids and the long-chain omega-3 acids. Now, the essential omega-3 acid is known as alpha-linoleic acid. And the reason why we use the word essential is because it means the body cannot produce it itself. Now, in order to get the benefits from ALA, you need to consume it, which is why it's important to supplement. The long-chain amino acids, there's two main ones, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce them, but they're known as EPA and DHA. Now, I remember a few years ago hearing about DHA, not quite understanding what it was, but it is essentially an omega-3 fatty acid. However, it's kind of an essential one, but not quite really. Now, why I say that is because the body can't technically produce it itself. The only way the body can produce it is by having ALA. Now, the reason why you would supplement it is because to get all those benefits that I discussed before, you need to consume these in your diet. Now, to consume it in your diet, you'd have to have large quantities of fish. Now, by supplementing it, you've got to increase the amount of ALA you have in your body, and therefore your body can produce EPA and also DHA. Now, like I said before, there were two supplements that I think are not discussed enough within the fitness community. Fish oils being the first one, and the next one is also a type of fish oil, and that's cod liver oil. Now, cod liver oil is also an omega-3 fatty acid. The main difference is that it contains vitamin A and vitamin D in quite a large quantity. Now, by including those, you don't only get the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids, you also get added benefits, and these include improved eye health, reduced risk of some cancers, improved bone density, as well as improved joint health, and also improved immune system. And I also would advise just anyone in general to take cod liver oil, because in countries like here in England, sunlight is a hot commodity, literally. So supplementing vitamin D is really important. Now, the next supplement I'm going to talk about is definitely one that I'm sure everyone knows. There's a little bit of controversy about how you should take it, whether you should cruise on it, whether you should take it all the time. I take 5 milligrams per day, and I take it every single day, whether that's to run up to a show or during my bulk. I religiously take the supplement, and that is creatine monohydrate. I definitely strongly recommend getting this supplement if you can. Not only is it very cheap, it's also one of the most well-researched supplements. Once again, it's one of those supplements that if you type in Google, you get loads of information. But just to summarize my understanding of what creatine does, it helps with the formation of ATP. Now, ATP is a key molecule that your cells use for energy and all basic life function. Now, during exercise, ATP is used and obviously is diminished throughout your training session. Now, the idea of taking creatine is it helps to increase the stores of ATP and therefore allow you to perform at a maximal intensity for a lot longer and reap the benefits of your training session. But like I said before, it's completely up to you whether you take it. I don't think it's something you have to take, but I do think if you want to optimize your training, it's definitely something to consider. And not only that, it's so ridiculously cheap. Why would you not? Now, the next supplement is definitely one that I do not think is required in order to get great results. However, it is one that I like to take because it does seem to improve my workouts. And I'm sure some of you already know what I'm going to say, but that's definitely pre-workout. Now, the pre-workout of choice for me is by a company called Applied Nutrition. The main reason why I use this one is because I think it's reasonably priced and I also really like the taste of it. Now, pre-workouts are very controversial. One of the main reasons being they do not always disclose the ingredients, and they use words like proprietary blend or unique blend, and they don't disclose all the information about the ingredients that's actually in it. Furthermore, there's not really been many studies about long-term use of pre-workouts because these contain a stupid amount of caffeine. So if you're very, very caffeine intolerant, if taking caffeine, it makes you go crazy. This is probably not the best supplement for you. However, I do find that my workouts are a lot better when I use it. The sort of things this contains, like I said, is caffeine, nitrate. Nitrates are known to help red blood cells transport oxygen. It also contains beta-alanine, which is believed to help reduce the amount of lactic acid buildup. So overall, I do think there is definitely a place to take pre-workout. I wouldn't recommend taking it over a long period of time. I generally cycle it. I may buy this tub now, and then when this tub finishes, wait a month, 2 months, and then buy another tub. It's not something I take on a regular basis, but I will definitely say when I do take it, my workouts are a lot better and I struggle without it. So that's definitely one you might want to consider, but if there's any other supplements you definitely want to drop, this would definitely be one I would recommend dropping, and consider some of the other ones we discussed already. Moving on to l-carnitine is a supplement I take just on the run up to a show, and the reason being is because it's known to help absorb fatty acids. In that case, in order to get all the benefits from the fatty acids that we discussed already, taking l-carnitine will help improve the absorption of that, and then in theory help improve and increase the benefits you get. So the benefits of taking l-carnitine include increased endurance, enhanced weight loss, prevents muscle damage, amps up fat burning, boosts brain function, and regulates blood sugar. So like I said, it's definitely one of the supplements I don't take throughout the year, and there's so many different brands on the market. I wouldn't be too concerned about which one you get. I normally start to take it around 6 to 8 weeks before a show, so leading up to the show, then I start to take it on a regular basis. I take 2 in the morning and then 2 in the evening just before I go to bed with a meal. So definitely one that you don't need to get all the way through the year, but it's definitely one I would consider that if you're working towards a show, a holiday, an event, and you want to look your best, you want to try and reduce your fat mass as much as you can, it's definitely one to consider taking 6 to 8 weeks before the day to reap all the benefits that we just discussed. Now, the next supplement is definitely one that I don't think you need, and the evidence for it is very, very limited. But it was one I was recommended to take from my nutrition coach, and I do take it on the run up to a show. Once again, around that sort of 6 to 8 weeks, I started to take it. It's relatively cheap, and the brand I buy is by a company called Natural Answers, and that's raspberry ketones. Now, like I said, it's relatively cheap, and the evidence behind it is pretty limited, so it's definitely one you don't need to get. But once again, I do believe that it's worth considering taking it if there's an event or something like that, like I said before, to you want to try and be as lean as possible. Now, raspberry ketones are chemicals that are found in red raspberries that is believed to help with weight loss. There's some research that's been carried out on animals that indicate that there's an increase in metabolism when you introduce raspberry ketones. Some studies suggest that it may also affect a hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin is believed to help the rate in which body burns fat and also helps to reduce your appetite. But like I said, the evidence behind it is quite limited, so it's definitely one that if you don't want to spend loads of money on supplements, you may consider not investing in it. But I do recommend considering some of these stuff because they've definitely helped me. And that is my full supplement stack. By no means am I saying you have to get these. I'm just sharing with you my experience of using supplements. In theory, you probably don't need any of these supplements providing you have a good nutritional diet. And if you had to choose one or the other, always go with a better diet rather than supplements. So just bear that in mind when you watch this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it. It's definitely opened my eyes to why I take some of the supplements that I take, and hopefully it'll be helpful to any of you that are considering buying supplements or want to know what supplements you should take. But with that said, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Also share the video if it's been helpful to you or you think it may be helpful to someone else. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Till then, peace.